The question isn't whether one should pursue further education. It is how to do so in the best way that suits one's career goal and learning style.
Masters will not push you ahead in a career. Master will enhance your knowledge to get pushed and go ahead.
You can do multiple one-year courses over your age and gain all kinds of knowledge.
The timing of you pursuing masters is the key. To know what your interests are, what your passion is, and what you would like to do further, or where you would want to take your career to go. And then take that time and then pursue masters.
If any student comes and asks me, should we do a master's or not? I always say yes, you should. How I advise them on navigating their careers, it all depends on why they want to do it, when they want to do it, in what they want to do it.
I shifted my path from execution to the contract, and that gives me another way of looking at the project. And then I realized to continue in this contract path, I definitely need some advanced course.
Attend a course, it's like you are getting married and you cannot get a divorce. There is no right time. If you do it a little later, good. If you do it immediately, good. But should do a master's and preferably outstation where you are not in the cozy environment of your home.
Everything that we were learning in that course, I was seeing how it is getting applied in SSC, right from history of Indian architecture.
Masters is not the only way to educate yourself. It is also through these certification courses. You need to have those conversations and improvise constantly on what more can you do to build a better tomorrow.
Hi everyone, good morning. Welcome to yet another episode of our series And Beyond. Architecture is an ever-evolving field. With technological advancements, sustainability concerns, and emerging design methodologies, it's imperative that architects and engineers continue to learn and adapt. Much like doctors and lawyers, architects and engineers must engage in a lifelong learning, whether it's through formal education, certification, or hands-on practice. The question isn't whether one should pursue further education. It is how to do so in the best way that suits one's career goal and learning styles. Today we have a great panel of professionals with us, and I would like to start by introducing everyone. We have Charlotte, who's the project manager. We have Suhas, who's our associate principal. We have Shruti, who's a project architect. We have Pankaj, who's our principal architect. And we have Swati, who's a senior studio coordinator. We have Bijal, who's a senior project manager. And we have Amruta, who's a senior project manager as well. And we have Roy, who's our associate principal. So to start the discussion, I'd like to direct specific question to each of our panelists based on their unique backgrounds and experiences. So I'd like to begin with Pankaj. Pankaj, with your extensive experience of nearly 30 years at SSA, you've worked with a diverse range of professionals, with and without master's degrees. Based on your observation, what differences do you see in their approach to projects, problem solving, and career progression? In your opinion, does it matter? And does a master's degree make a tangible impact on their professional practice?
So initially, in professional life, it doesn't matter if you are masters or architect bachelors. It is all about the attitude what you carry forward. But when you are working with some kind of professional projects where certain things has to be understood or worked on, for bachelors it is difficult because they have not learned that in a course. So it will take time to understand how they go ahead. And the masters, they have that background of education and knowledge, so they can grasp it faster than the bachelors. So technically there is no difference between bachelors and masters. Masters is giving additional education to or additional knowledge to the person. Second thing, when you see the course curriculum, professional curriculum, it is not key. Once you finish your bachelor's, you go to master's. There is a 2 years, minimum 2 years gap should be there for any institute to take you for the master's. Why that 2 years? You have to understand what you have done in a bachelor's, in professional, what you like, and what you want to know further in a shorter stipulated time. So the master is not a kind of thing कि you pass 10th, then you pass 12th, then bachelor's and masters. No. Master is always to enhance your knowledge or education in certain particular way or in particular topic. So it is not, there is no difference as such in bachelor's and master. I have not done masters, but over 30 years, I have gathered the knowledge and the experience where I can take certain things ahead. Yeah.
Right. So to summarize it, what you're trying to say is that it gives you a additional push, like it gives you a head start at the start of your career if you've done a master's degree, because you'll be able to grasp some concepts better.
No, that is not a push start. That is, nobody pushes you up. If you are following certain projects and if you want to know certain things in a smaller time, you can do a master's and you can gather knowledge in that course. So that will enhance your knowledge and push you toward professional goals. Masters will not push you ahead in a career. Master will enhance your knowledge to get pushed and go ahead. It is not कि if I do a master, I get a good job. If I do a master's, I can do better. No, that is not a case. I can see a bachelor guy and a master guy. The bachelor guy can do lot many things, but master guy cannot do that. It is not, you cannot differentiate if the bachelor guy has a capacity, it is enhanced when you get a master person. No. So it is only a tool to enhance your knowledge in a shorter term, and in regulated or programmatic curriculum you get that degree, knowledge.
Right. Interesting. So basically you're trying to say it enhances your practice.
And if you see world over, only Indians do masters at 25, 26.
Yeah.
If you go to Europe and America, they don't do. They do a job and they realize that now they have to do something more in certain field, and then they join master. So if you see all the foreign universities, the younger generation is from China and India.
Yeah.
And all Europeans and Americans are older.
Right.
Because they realize that I want to have a knowledge, so they enroll themselves for the masters.
About a specific thing which they've realized also after their practice. Okay. So Amruta, I'd like to ask you the next question. Many professionals choose not to pursue a master's degree, opting instead for a hands-on industry experience. From your own career journey and that of your colleagues, have you noticed a difference in your growth trajectory, opportunities, or career stability between those with and without masters? Do you believe a master's degree provides a distinct advantage, or a practical experience serves as equally as a strong foundation for career advancement?
So let me pick up from where Pankaj stopped. There's no one size fits all kind of a situation in our field. So I think we should give equal importance to hands-on experience and a master's degree, where we understand the merits of both and how that can complement to our growth, how we can make use of both of them. That is more important. So if we take a hands-on experience. Now, sitting in the classrooms, going through theories and concepts, we're not certainly exposed to real clients or real projects and the real world constraints of time, cost, materials that are ever changing, depending on the project. So we're not exposed to that kind of environment sitting in classrooms. So it is important to take a hands-on experience. Coming to a master's degree, it's like a formal training in a specialized subject. So I think when we are on a hands-on experience in architecture, it's the experiential learning is more important. But at the same time, a formal education exposes you to avenues that are into design thinking or critical analysis or researching. So it kind of exposes you to that world which you're not exposed as a fresh graduate. You're very naive to even understand that after graduation there are so many vast subjects that you can delve into to take your career ahead or for continuous success. Now there's a famous saying by FLW wherein he says that you either use an eraser or on a drafting table, or you use a sledgehammer at the construction site. So hands-on experience has a direct impact on that built environment. But at the same time, again, formal education is very important. So for you to understand what steps are to be taken, what steps are to be followed, and it's like what he mentioned that it exposes you to a certain way forward. But however, I would like to mention here that the timing of you pursuing masters is the key.
Right.
When you pursue masters, like you take a hands-on experience for a few years after your graduation, and then you kind of have the time to know what your interests are, what your passion is, and what you would like to do further, or where you would want to take your career to go, and then take that time and then pursue masters. So now, being said all of this, I also believe that since we are into this world of architecture, which is ever evolving, ever changing, there are new methodologies, there are new materials, there are so many new things happening every day in and out. I think upskilling ourselves in ways that not just a master's degree, do professional courses, do self-learning for that matter. I see Pankaj doing a lot of self-learning, and that is really motivational. So, I think we should kind of keep doing that, and continual learning is something we all should learn all our life. We should always be students all our life. And how Zaha Hadid always puts it, there are 360 degrees. Why stick to just one? So I think that's what I would like to say.
Right. So I think you and Pankaj have similar opinions on this topic. Okay. So Amruta, I'll ask you this question differently. Between you and your friends who've not pursued masters, since you have pursued masters, is there a stark difference you see? Is there some points you can draw on as parallels that this works or this is different? This is
So to basically summarize it, what I feel, no education goes wasted. You apply it some or the other way. But to apply that, what is important is attitude. You may have hundreds of masters or hundreds of courses done, but the way you apply it makes you different. The way you put it to use makes you different. Now is the world of AI. AI is taking over. People are talking about losing jobs. No. It is a tool, and the one who will make use of the tool the best, I think, will excel. So I think that's how we should take any learning as.
agreed. Fair point. So we'll move on to Swati. So Swati, as an educator in an architecture college, how do students perceive the need for continuing education, and what guidance do you provide to help them navigate their career paths? Can self-study, mentorship, and hands-on experience serve as a viable alternative to formal education, or do conferences, workshops, and networking events offer a greater value than pursuing an advanced degree?
Thanks, Devika, for the question. I'll answer the second part first because it's easier. And you asked whether they can, through mentorship, through seminars, conferences, can they enhance their education? Yes, they can enhance their education, but it cannot replace a 2-year master's degree program. So a master's degree is something which matures the student. So if you come and ask me, if any student comes and asks me, should we do a master's or not? I always say yes, you should. because enhancement of knowledge is not only formal knowledge, it's a way of thinking, it's attaining maturity, it's becoming a well-rounded professional. So knowledge can never go waste or have a negative impact. However, how I advise them on navigating their careers, it all depends on why they want to do it, when they want to do it, in what they want to do it. So a lot of, like, when you look at why, the students have very varied reasons as to why they want to do it. Okay, from bettering job prospects to starting a new life, a better life in another country, to maybe you know some of them even do it to better their marriage prospects. Okay, so you don't know what they're doing it for. So accordingly we guide them. And I agree with the panel here that 2 years, 1 or 2 years of working is, I think, better, because I myself did my master's right out of college, and I did feel that I knew less than the students who were there in with me. So I think that 1 or 2 years of working in the field, understanding and then following a passion is a better way to do it than to due to societal pressure. They say that we finished our masters, we finished our bachelors, now we have to do our masters, and then we have to start earning. So that need is there, but if you have the luxury, you should be able to take that break and understand the industry and do it in a subject that you are passionate about. But students generally, their choice is not always based on the passion that they follow. It happens very rarely that it's a passion and that they want to follow it. It's more like, I want to go abroad, so whichever college I get in, I will do a course over there. Or it is, I don't have that kind of funds, so I have to do it in India. In India, the options are very limited. So you don't know for what reason they want to do or how they want to do it. So it's very subjective how we mentor each student. It's on a case by case basis.
Right. So, do you think that a personality of the student or their working style also affects the way you guide them further?
In a master's?
In a master's, yeah, there might be students you might think that they don't function that well with professional, with formal education, maybe while you're in
No,
college.
that is not the case.
Okay.
I think every person, every human being has to understand some sort of discipline in their life. So it is a preparation for that. You can't. It's not where I can go and do whatever I want if I feel like I do it. And that kind of luxury very few people have. So the faster they get into the system of things, the better it is.
Right. Thank you, Swati. Next, I would like to move on to Roy. So, Roy, you are currently pursuing contract management after years of professional practice. How does this additional qualification, post your civil engineering, add value to your professional journey?
Good morning, everyone. Just a little correction. The course is done, so I'm not pursuing. It's over. So yes, I have done it after a long, almost like 25 years. But the thing is, I think I'm the only engineer here. And in our engineering, specifically civil engineering field, there are two distinct sectors. One is design and one is execution. So most of the time, those who are chose to go into the design field, they prefer masters and postgraduate rather. In my time, in those who are choose to go to the execution field, they were happy with the graduation and all. So likewise, I also started, and then I realized that if I may do some further course, advanced course, maybe not masters, but postgrad, some other courses. So it may benefit. And initially, I tried to do the construction management or rather post project management, but it couldn't happen somehow. And then I shifted my path from execution to the contract, and that gives me another way of looking at the project. And then I realized to continue in this contract path, I definitely need some advanced course. And then I got into this postgraduate in contract management from NICMAR. Why I am saying I need that, because before that we engineers who are into specifically into execution, they are very little exposed to that contract part, which is the base of the any sort of business. And to understand that, you need to have some structured study into this. And when I gone through the courses and realized that yes, it will benefit, and it is benefiting my career. And now I can understand the projects or any sort contracts from a very different perspective. I know the nitty gritty of any terms and I believe many of the architects or engineers, they just don't go by line of the contract, but it has every line in the contract, every line in that book has a meaning. And only one person, Pankaj, he only says कि any architect or any engineer has to read that book. Otherwise, you know what you are doing, but 100% you don't know what we are doing. Basically, you need to know why we are doing. That why is given in that particular book. And at the beginning of my career in Sandeep Shikra and Associates, Sandeep sir, one day I remember, that was very early, he came to the site, he fired like anything, us, and he told us, okay, do you know there is a book, Conditions of Conduct, tender? We were zapped. We didn't know at all. But we are working like 6 to 6 or 8 to 8, 12 hours, 13 hours. We are in the site. So we said, no, sir. And they said, very good. Go and get the book. And it was written what is to be done, why you have to do this, and what is not to be done. To understand, because this contract document has two part. One is technical, another is legal part. So you are to understand the legal terms and terminologies, you need to go the structured certificate course or postgraduate course, and it will give you a vast knowledge, exposure about how to read, because this is the only nervous system of the any projects or any business, because it has a structured written document which gives you idea about what you are doing. So that is how now I have done this course. So I'll be in a better position to explain all of you guys or anybody in the organization which are the conditions, which are the terms may go for us or may go against us. Otherwise, if I would not say, but this course or any advanced course in the contract management will definitely give a better overview of contract.
Thanks, Roy. Would you like to tell us properly about what this course was like? Was it a 1 year course, 2 years course, and did
It
you
was
do it
one-
part time while working, or how did you do
it
it?
is part-time course, 1 year course, done by they organized by NICMAR. So NICMAR has a education center in Bombay. So they have their part-time weekend courses. So
Okay.
for the professionals who wanted to do something, but some circumstances couldn't do, they can go for this, because masters in a core engineering or architecture, okay, fine, but there are other avenues, just like Amruta said, there are so many avenues where you can excel your knowledge and your experience as well. So this is
So, while practicing with your professional practice and doing the course, was it very hectic or it was doable?
it was hectic, because you know our life. So
Exactly.
yeah, so it is hectic, but when you want to do, you get ways and means.
Do you think it's easier to learn when you're a little more mature? Like, is it easier to grasp the knowledge faster? So maybe your
Yeah,
study
sometimes.
hours are lesser.
Yeah, sometimes, but it has another side. When you are in job or your hour of learning reduces. So when
Right.
you are fresh, you don't have much responsibilities in your life. You can carve out time, more time, and put it in your studies. But when you are in the middle of your journey, you have responsibilities, your families, then it is really hard. But it has an advantage. And being my wife as an architect, I got a help of her.
So nice. Thanks, Roy. That was wonderful. So I would like to ask the next question to Suhas. Suhas, you've completed your master's degree from abroad. How has the international exposure shaped your career? What key differences do you see between architecture education in India and overseas? Would you recommend international education to aspiring architects?
Yeah, so thanks. I think before I answer your question, I just want to highlight on three keywords. Uh, Pankaj said attitude, Amrita said process, and Roy said perspective. So I think these three keywords are very crucial. Yes, you have. I think it is always beneficial to do a master's at any point in time. I did it 4 years after my bachelor's. So I was working for 4 years and then I went for my master's. So definitely, I think you at some point of time in your life you should pursue a degree, higher education degree. The difference between I think Indian education system and education system abroad is more on the way we approach the whole design topic or whatever research topic. So mine was a research based masters, and I think we pay a bit of lip service, we do a little bit of a compromise when we are not too honest, to be precise, when we do our bachelors. Some people are doing it from local places. Some people stay in hostel and do it. But at some point of time, 4 years, we kind of have a lot of fun and do many things. Attitude makes a big difference, here. So it is not compulsory that you should have a master's, but master's helps you refine that process, the process of learning anything new. If you do a master's, you're basically pursuing a knowledge which you did not have or which you have very little information about, and you are now trying to gain expertise on it, right? And the process is what I think is the takeaway of that master's. If you think that I do a master's in high rise, I'm expert in it. No, I think the process helps you understand how to approach any issue which deals with high rise. If you do a master's in any other field, sustainability or urban design, the process is the key thing. And that process will help you tackle any new challenges that may come in the future. It's like I book a hotel through Make My Trip, or I do a research and book a hotel on my own when I go for a vacation. The process of researching which are the good places, how to zero down and all, it is a process. And if you do it, you can book any hotels or any locations. You can plan your visit nationally, internationally. So it's kind of an analogy. So that process is a very critical thing. In terms of masters, they make you go through research. You cannot copy something. You have to come up with an original idea. You have to extract the information out of it. And somewhere I think this process also is there in our regular operational field. You learn about facades, you learn about planning, you learn about say luxury thing, what makes luxury a luxury segment. You have to do that kind of research continually to gain that information. I think the other most important thing, and okay, what we go for education, that knowledge is one aspect. But other very important aspect, which I think is very crucial and which I got benefited out of it, is you get to stand in a foreign soil on your own. You get to manage yourself. You talk to peers, not from a level that they are tutors or mentors and we are students. You get to stand there as professionals, even though it is a master's degree. You have probably one is a thesis in charge, but then there are also some other professors who you have to deal with, and that is where I think you have to stand there present. That gives you a lot of confidence. when you address a big crowd, when you go to seminars or present a paper, you have to stand there and you have to basically defend, right? You have to present your hypothesis. So it gives a lot of other angle as well. So I will say that it's a soft skill which typically it gets overlooked when we do bachelors. We are not required to do so many things, but when you do a master's, it's expected that your research has to have a wider acceptance. It has to be presented. If your paper gets printed in a publication, that gives additional sort of qualification as well, but it gives a more importance to your research, and you get to connect multiple themes. So it is when you do a research, while I was working with simulation and its application on architectural practice, I had a chance to talk to Autodesk. I had a chance to talk to many other organizations, and at that time, Ecotech was just evolving. Ecotech is a simulation software, and some of that research found its way into that. It cannot be proved, but we had this kind of dialogue that what is necessary and all that. So I think that exposure is in a different way. You don't even imagine when you're sitting here, when you do your bachelor's. It's not that you don't get a chance, but the kind of sincerity, the kind of maturity, and the kind of focus that you go, because when you're going abroad for a master's, you know that you are going for a master's. You are spending money of your own earning or your parents' earning, whatever it is, and you have to make the buck out of it. You have to gain 100% footage out of it. So you are more focused, and that helps you address that whole master's education in a better way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally agreed. And I also think, like, even apart from your professors and your mentors who were guiding you while doing your master's program, it's also the peers you must have made while doing the degree, which if you have come from India to do masters over there must be multicultural peers, which also must affect in the exposure that you got while learning.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had a batch where there were people from different countries, and that kind of, when you talk, it's a different kind of thing. It's not like what we do fraternize here. There is some time that is required to understand them, to understand the culture. So it helps you to even go in any place, be it any seminar, be it in a different country. That's why I said, you get the confidence to stand, you get the confidence to talk, you get the confidence to exchange ideas, which sometimes I think there is a little bit of a holdback that we do. If you don't have that much confidence, you gain confidence over there. It is not like I did masters, so I have the confidence. But then it is a platform, I believe, that you are exposed to. And at that point of time, it is not one experience. There are many things that are happening in the background. There are multiple things. I mean, when I was doing my masters, we had also student organization which we were part of, and we helped facilitate 108, I believe, or 110 students pick up and drop off from the airport. All Indian students, of course. But that was an organization. There were cultural festivals where we were kind of gathering multiple nationalities together, and we had organized an event. So all of these things you can even do here, but doing it in a different country, you have to talk to administration of the university, and they don't understand what is Holi. And you have to kind of make ends meet, and that is, I think, what we even do in our regular day-to-day practice. We are talking to engineers, consultants, PMCs. Some people have deadlines, and we are trying to make ends meet and do it professionally, do it with ethically and with a good heart, and do it so that we gain pride out of it, not just for the sake of just completing a task. So I think it helps us to gain a very different, matured perspective. And I mean, definitely, if anybody is looking for a master's, it's like there is no right time. If you do it a little later, good. If you do it immediately, good. But should do a master's, and preferably outstation, where you are not in the cozy environment of your home.
Yeah. It's very interesting, I think. I mean, in a design field, the more exposed you get, the better, because you listen to more perspectives and you get more ideas and inspiration from every new interaction that you get. So I think it's a great way. So Bijal, you have been recruiting across various architecture verticals, whether for a design studio or a project management consultancy. What holds the most weight in a candidate's profile? Does a master's degree generally carry more significance, or does hands-on work experience take precedence? Additionally, how valuable is continuously upscaling yourself through certifications help the candidate in this competitive industry?
So you can take this actually as a cheat code to apply for a professional job in SSA. So when I scan through various CVs that come and the portfolios that we get, the first thing that strikes me is how often have they switched jobs, or how much have they continued to educate themselves, because it is something which I've understood is a lot of people these days apply with after finishing their bachelor's they've immediately gone and done masters, and they want a job, and that job that they want is of a project manager. You have to understand that it's not just that if you have a degree you've qualified yourself to be a project manager. There is weightage to the experience as well, weightage to the experience of a longer duration of seeing a project from start to end. So these are the things which I look into when I'm hiring architect or project manager or even engineers for that matter. Like right now, with the project that I'm working on, I've been seeing to recruit a lot of people across the industry. It's not just one kind of person. Like even I've been looking for graphic designers or 3D visualizers. So the first thing that I get intrigued is when I see someone who's continuously taken that effort to educate themselves, because it's not just through masters. First of all, even certifications do help you because they are formal education, and formal education brings a maturity into your thinking process in a way you apply your mind to various problem solving things. So like there is LEED certification or GRIHA certification. I see a CV with a GRIHA assessor, I get very interested that, oh, so this person, what is this person going to bring to the table? And when I have the interview and I understand from them, I understand they're going to see the project in a very different way, not just as, are ye shaft sizes ho gaya, ki ye material aa gaya. They start thinking in that, is this material sustainable or eco-friendly or has low carbon emissions? What is it? So that really improves your way of thinking as a professional. So, yeah, I think it's not just, you cannot put a pin on it that only experience will work when I am applying for a job, or oh, I have masters, so I am something and I'll get this job. It is a balance of the two.
Interesting. So to summarize it, what is important is that intrigues you in the start when you do read that somebody has a certification or a master's. So you will look at that CV more in depth.
Yeah. Because the thing is, see, it is as Amrita was saying, or even Pankaj was saying, it's about continuing education. Like Roy did it after 20 years. I mean, there is some weightage to that, is because the more you learn, the more the technology is advancing, the more you are growing yourself as a person. You have to be a student in your life. If you stop learning, you stop growing. That's what I think.
Right. And apart from masters also, I think you added a wonderful point, which was about how long a person has stuck in a company. That shows commitment to the company also, and your
it's not just about commitment to the company, it's commitment to your understanding of the profession you are in, and how much are you seeing from start to end a project. If you miss out some part of it and keep jumping or just do one thing, you will be stuck there because you will not understand the nuances of complexities that each different project holds. So that is why it is important to stick around for yourself, not for just the company.
Yeah, true. It shows your character also when
yes,
you're there longer. So Charlotte, you pursued your master's in environmental architecture from Rachna Sansad in Mumbai after completing your B.Arch also in Mumbai. How has this specialization in environmental architecture shaped your approach in the practice?
So I did my master's in the second year of experience. So this was a part-time course which was on Saturday, Sunday, like similar to Roy. And it was a 7-hour course on Saturday, Sunday. So I used to work in SSA during the week and we used to learn on the weekend. So everything that we were learning in that course, I was seeing how it is getting applied, in SSA. So suppose I have a project, and in the environmental architecture, they had like 6 subjects per semester. There were 4 semesters. So one of them example was like how you apply ratings. So they taught us IGBC, they taught us Griha. So many of the projects in SSA, like Sandeep sir likes to have green projects. So many of them have this IGBC and Griha rating. So they have checkpoints then, how many points you're getting, what are you doing in your project to get those points. So that application I could see in SSA. So something that I studied in college, they used to teach us climatology, sustainable planning, there was materials, technology, even they used to teach us different zones. So suppose you're learning in Maharashtra or in Gujarat, so how does your passive architecture change? At that point, I had Mumbai projects, but now we have some projects in Gujarat, we have some projects in Lucknow. It changes your perspective. The master's was mostly about research. So if you have a particular topic, why is that subject there? What is it helping? Right from history of Indian architecture, like what was done then, what is done now. If you had jalis then, do you have perforations now? Do you have fins now? You go with the sun angle, you can provide some architectural elements to, enhance your project. All architecture is about people and spaces. So your end user should be a happy client. Everything should be sustainable, but they're teaching you how to make it sustainable. Those applications we are seeing in SSA. So they teach you, what should be the points, for example, humid climate zones. Those applications then you see in different projects of SSA of, this is in this zone, that is in that zone. So if you have a project in Gujarat example, you will have shading, you will have some water features in the project. You will like to have cross ventilation, balconies. So those things you learn in the masters, and then you can apply them in your own projects. Like, because we do projects from scratch, from concept. So you can identify these things and add them to your design. So that was a good point.
That was so nice that when you were studying it and then you could apply it in the week.
Yeah,
I
so
think
you
that would have enriched your learning process.
You have live case studies in SSA.
Exactly.
So not only your project, but example, I can go to Amrita's project and
Right.
see what she's doing and how it's getting applied. So we have 200 people. So there are those many
Wonderful.
projects. So that helps.
Shruti, much like Charlotte, you also pursued your master's in project management while staying in India. What advantages did you find in completing your studies from home? And would you consider project management to be a demanding field of study? Has it improved your approach to design projects and expanded your opportunities? Also, did it provide any added advantage in handling them more effectively?
Hi Devika, thanks a lot for questions. I'd like to answer the first part. I pursued my master's in project management field, which gives the additional benefits. Especially I did it from home. So I was working as well as I was pursuing master's. So it gives the additional exposure towards the local codes and the local projects which are running across along with your colleagues and everybody. While doing the masters, I visited multiple sites along with working as well. So which gives the benefit to an additional approach towards the project. Like I visited various projects like, government project. I visited the 3D printing project, concrete printing in Ahmedabad. Then I do get a chance to visit the metro projects. So how different projects behaves at a managerial and a broader perspective. It's not about, while working in architecture, the designing and the main part of design is like a predecessor. So the main part is the execution and management and other work. So that gives the additional approach to it, how you should think, better perspective it gives them. So you get to know about the cost, you get involved in the risk. So basically the formal education gives the knowledge, but then how to apply it in a various projects, it's very important. And while applying towards it, you get the overall holistic approach towards looking at it.
So basically, doing it from Mumbai gave you the opportunity to work on local projects and apply
Right,
whatever you
right,
were
right.
learning
Correct,
there.
correct.
Thank you, Shruti. Now I would like to open up this panel discussion and ask all of y'all common questions. And let's hear from all of y'all together what y'all think about it. There are multiple pathways to continued education, whether through a 1 year or a 2 years master's program, certification courses, or gaining knowledge through practice itself. From your experience, what do you believe is the most effective approach after listening to all the different viewpoints? Should architect follow structured educational path or dive into practical exposure?
First thing is everything, if you are not doing structural, it takes lot of time. And if you want to do certain things in a stipulated time, yes, you should join the courses or do the masters. Masters is not compulsory. If you see the western side of education, western countries doesn't have a formal kind of structured education. They say they start with completing the graduation, or before graduation also they start working, and after that they feel ki there should be a graduation, so they do the graduation, and then they go in a field, and then either they take emerge or the courses. So if you see all the western world, there are no people who have done a course before 30, and there are some courses where the people who are 50 or 60-year old. So yes, we need education. Formal will reduce your time, and if you want to gain that whole knowledge informally, it will take lot of time because it is not structured. You will not gain total knowledge of it. You will not see other part of that knowledge. That are some advantages or disadvantages in informal education. So my preference is to get into formal education. May it be a MARCH or any course which is related after post-graduation. That will help you in a career or a life. That is my...
Right. And I think structure is important because they say how, like, if you don't set a deadline for something, if you give the task 1 month, it will take 1 month. If you give it like 10 days, you will work at it that way.
That is not my real meaning of that. Sometimes you lose the track and you gather half information. That half information is very deadly. So if you have a knowledge of one part which you have experienced, and if you don't have knowledge of other part in other project, that the other part will kill you by saying ki, you said ki you have a knowledge but you don't know this. So that is very dangerous. So it is not about time that way, but that doesn't get a comprehensive education.
Right.
So to add to it, I would also like to mention that don't do masters just for the sake of it. Don't do it to add it to your profile. Don't do it because somebody asked you to do it. Do it only when it comes from within. Like, I want to do it. Be it masters, be it any other education, but do it when it comes from inside. And I think after about 13 years, I did my masters after 2 years of experience. It's been 10 years since I've done my masters. And I now feel that, oh no, what have I done in the last 10 years? No. But in SSA or, we've always tried to acquire new skills. Like we had a formal education or a formal training program for BIM. So now is the time after 2-3 years, I feel, okay, now I need to learn something more. And I think that is what will keep improving you. That is something that will make you grow.
I just want to add that the way there is, if you take medicine, without post-graduation, you're not really there. The same way with lawyers, you have corporate lawyers, you have criminal lawyers, you have that level of expertise. And somewhere down the line, architecture is going to go that path as well. It has already started happening in the West, where there are, and they have a lot of options in the masters. So they have a masters with CS, they have parametric, masters with AI, masters on building envelope, masters on facade systems. So buildings which are coming up abroad, they're very, very technically evaluated on several fronts. And ultimately, they are, I think, far more successful buildings, that they're building than we are doing here. A master's will definitely help. It's not happened in India as yet, particularly making buildings with envelope conscious design or anything like that in the mainstream. There might be few architects who are passionate about it and are doing it, but not in the mainstream who would be able to get you a job because you have done building envelope design. But abroad, that's happening, and that field is going to move in that way as well, like other fields. So I don't think that you will, in the next 10, 12 years from now, have a choice. Probably you will have to specialize in something.
Right.
We are doing IGBC rated buildings, but they're very few. The mainstream, the builders, or even like other people, they are very cost conscious. They don't want to put that capex into the project. So we are not doing all the things that the West is doing.
I think even you have to understand with the way things are changing rapidly, like even you say climate change, your whole thought process is now changing. You don't have that leeway anymore कि मैंने कुछ बना दिया और वो चल जाएगा. You have to start becoming conscious about how you're building. And how do you become conscious is by knowing what you want to build. And how do you know what you want to build or how you want to build is through education. If you've not studied about it, I'm not saying masters. Masters is not the only way to educate yourself. It is also through these certification courses or even engaging in various forums and committees. It does help. It definitely helps. Don't just rely on masters. If you've done your masters and then for a long period, if you don't use it or if you don't apply it or discuss it with someone, I mean, it will not help you anywhere. I mean, it will definitely help you with your projects and all, but as a person to grow, you need to have those conversations and improvise constantly on what more can you do to build a better tomorrow. Go to conferences, go for seminars, have discussions. Like today we are having this panel discussion within SSA, and I think it's fantastic because there are such different ways of thinking. I've understood that people look at when it comes to formal education, to hands-on experience, to even short courses. Keep learning everything that you think that will enhance your way of looking into your projects and your life is something which I want to add
So
to.
to summarize, you have to continuously keep refining yourself. Would you all like to add anything?
I think upscaling is necessary. Sincerity is necessary. If you are diligent, sincere, it can be a structured course, it can be an unstructured course. Everything has a place and time. So ideally, yes, psychologically we are not yet confident or comfortable to do masters when we are 40s or 50s. Culturally, psychologically, both ways. In my batch, there was a lady who was 54. She came, she attended one semester, and then she realized this is not something that I am interested in. So it was just like, they don't have, for us, like leaving a degree program is like, oh, isne degree chhod diya, education chhod diya. It's like, big deal. For her, it was like, this doesn't suit me. I will find something better. And I lost one semester. I lost a few dollars. That is okay. But they were growing or rather that lady was going, Patty was her name. So she was going for education that she requires. And she thought that this university, this course will offer it, but it didn't. And she moved away. And probably she must have done something else. I'm not sure. I'm not in touch with her. But that kind of mentality we don't have. When we attend a course, it's like you are getting married and you cannot get a divorce. Something like that. I think sincerity is the word. If you are sincere, if you enroll for a Coursera course or a Khan Academy or any other online platform, you take it for 1 week and then you leave it, that's not going to help you, right? So I think if you're sincere, masters or any other, I think certificate course that kind of binds you or commits you to something. So it's helping, but it is not mandatory. If you're sincere and diligent, I think go for anything which upscales you in the area that you want to know. And I think the bigger thing is we should have multi-focus and not a narrow focus. Sometimes masters have a tendency to narrowly focus on facades or sustainability or something else. If you have a multi-focus and if you're focused on the process, I think it will get you along on a much more broader journey. You can address multiple problems in a much more better way, in a much more cohesive way, rather than having a narrow focus.
Right.
So what we had in the masters, like in that 2-year course, every weekend, if example I'm learning about waste management, so there was a corporator from municipal corporation who was coming and telling how they are managing their waste. Or if you're talking about water, there was a person from the the water side of the engineer who was coming and telling what are the systems, what you'll use. So that is something that we learned then. But now in example 12 years of experience, you are talking daily to your consultants. So you can learn what are their issues, what are they facing, how would they prefer an architect to design. So that learning from each other, kind of thing continues even after a master's or, even in your experience. Like I started as an assistant architect on a project, but then you keep on growing and you're seeing the timeline of the project and you're learning from all the other consultants, MEP, structure, facade, they are doing their thing. You are not an expert in it. but you're learning from them. So that's a plus.
Yeah, so you have to continue your education. That's important, but your practice also
Yeah, so it's a
guides you so
knowledge.
much because
Yeah.
again you're interacting with
Yeah,
so many
even
professionals.
in a VC, yeah, you
As you correctly said, it is not a profession what we are pursuing. It is a practice what we are doing. And for this practice, Bachelor of Architecture or Master of Architecture is required. So it's an endless education in this. So it started with the Stone Age caves, and we are now on high rises. Forget the glass.
Okay, I would like to also touch upon is there a difference between like a 1 year master's program and a 2 years master's program, and is there any preference for that?
So there are few things. Qualification wise, 2 years master programs qualifies you for a PhD course and the further education. 1 year master program is a kind of course which you enhance your knowledge to one level. You cannot take that course and continue further education. So it is a time bound course for certain particular reason. It is not a continuous education. If you want to do bachelor's, then you have to do masters and you have to get into research, that is PhD. Then you require the 2 year course for research oriented. It's not PhD, but it is a continuous research. And this researchers always or majority are in a education field. They teach people about the architecture and this thing, and also do certain kind of projects where they analytically research on certain particular issues of industry. So for that you require a 2 year course.
I think 1 year course gives you single channelized energy towards single topic, and you can do multiple 1 year courses over your age and gain the all kinds of knowledge. However, for 2 years course, it's like a simply if you want to move forward with further education, also it opens.
If you want to
Yeah.
do like a specialized thing, like you
Specialized.
know what you want to
Yeah,
do.
you're sure about everything that you want to.
In this actually 1 year or 2 year, where it matters is when you're coming straight out of the college and going for a master's. But when you start working and then you're going to do a master's together, it becomes a whole different ball game. You have to be practicing, you have to be also studying. So sometimes 1 year does help. If you like how Shruti said that this is what I want to do, this is the specific thing I want to study, and that requires probably 1 year. But there are certain like urban planning or urban design or environmental design, those are the courses where it does take its own time to nurture your mind in a particular way to think like that and understand the complexities of the project. So that is why I think it's upon what you want to do, so their masters will be dependent. Like I did my masters from Glasgow School of Art in masters in architecture. It was not like urban design or this, because I knew I wanted to explore rather about everything. I even had a class on comic design, I had a class on psychology. The importance is to know what you want to do and then decide upon 2 years or 1 year. Just don't go for 2 years directly urban design karna hai because sab log kar rahe hai. Think about it, be diligent on what you want to do and then do it, because it does put in a lot of money and effort of not just yours but your family as well.
Right. Thanks, Vijay. Okay, so the last question I would like to ask is, since SSA does a broad spectrum of projects, do clients anytime have a requirement of that in your team we need people from a specific background? Like, do we need, like, your team needs to have somebody who's done a master's in urban planning or urban design or environmental? Does it affect in that?
Most government projects.
Yeah, actually nowadays all of the government projects, they have specified designation with a specified experience and the qualification. In that case, I'll tell about the engineering side. Minimum bachelor's degree is mandatory for a junior engineer as well, and for a project manager with a 20 years of experience, they prefer bachelor's with the post graduation in construction management, project management, and if he is masters in engineer, that will also do. So now it is becoming mandatory from a government organization that they are making it like minimum graduate engineer has to be there in your organization to be associate in a project. And even for a document controller and all, they also in that designation also they are preferring graduates in any discipline. So now graduation is a bottom line of your qualification to be associated with any engineering or even architectural project. So now it has been becoming mandatory now.
Yeah, I just like to add one thing. There are points. There are technicals. There are
Yeah,
points.
then it's a marking system also.
Yeah.
So basically, it is you to qualify. You have to this. If for a junior engineer you are deporting a postgraduate in construction, you are getting some additional marks. But for to qualify, you have to be a graduate engineer.
I'd like to add that sometimes now architects are now looking at the LDC or single window approach. So where sometimes you want to give that in-house service for, like, let's say, landscape, and if you've done your post graduation in landscape after architecture, you could be that person who is part of a large organization giving that in-house service for landscape or any such other field that you might feel necessary. So that could be one way in which, like, for example, conservation. There are some architects who do conservation. They would want to start that field, then they hire they hire professionals who've done their masters in conservation, and other than their mainstream work, they have a passion for it. So they've started a little thing on the side for that, and then those people are head of that department. So it does help if you are specialized and have got degree as an in-house team of a larger organization.
So basically, when I see SSA as a firm, we like to get engaged with the masters because there is additional knowledge which comes inside the office, which might inspire the other people to get educated or enhance their education, and that is tomorrow. So and beyond is that if you have that kind of people around you, you either enhance yourself or you try to perceive something. How to use with each client is different, as Roy correctly said. When we are pitching for the project tender, the evaluation criteria gives me certain marking systems, because these projects are big and government is expecting you should have a technical expertise in that field. So that is important. So government wise, this is one thing. If I get into a private developer, they are engaging people in their offices, masters or design controllers. So they have their staff and they are expecting new things from us as an architect. So they are not saying you have to have a master's, but you have to have a new idea. To evaluate, review, they have their team to review it. If I come to institutional projects, yes, the institutional people respects the education and they like to see more educated people coming on their project. If I get into corporate world, again it is, they say ki everything what you are designing, is it evaluated? Either you have a master in your office or you engage the consultant who has experience. So when I said earlier ki it's not only masters, if you see correctly in a government tenders, if you have a experience more than 20 years, you are equivalent to a master's. So if I get enrolled in any tender, I have to be on a higher position and my experience certificate is attached to get same mark as master. So it is 20 years I took to get into that position. But the master can get into that position within 2 years of completing masters. So they have a criteria of master's 2 years or 20 years of bachelor's. So yes, our company is looking at masters and the enhancement of courses, and that will help each of the client in smaller or bigger perspective. So we are not talking about ki you only do a 2 year course or you do 1 year course or you don't do anything, but whatever you are doing, do it structurally and get some kind of verification on ki yes, I have done that. In my experience, whatever I have gathered knowledge or anything, it is not structure. I cannot show anybody ki what I have gathered. So they have to talk to me. So when I say ki I am only architect, then they say, oh, you are architect. But when I start speaking, it takes a day or 1 or 2 hours. Tell ki I have all kind of knowledge. But if I had been master, then he starts
Looking at you differently. Yeah.
So that is a difference. But after so many years, I don't bother about anything. But that took me so many years. That is 30 years. So masters is something you should look at. And we are, as a SSA, we are looking at masters and how to engage in a knowledge sharing platform. We'll see that.
I completely agree. And I think you rightly said, I feel like in our office, there are so many individuals constantly learning, and like either it's IGBC ratings or doing masters. It motivates you. You feel like you should also do it. And I think that's the best part about it. So thank you everyone. Now I would like to conclude this panel discussion. It was a very engaging conversation, and I love to listen to all of your inputs about continuing further education. So what we take away from this panel discussion is that whether it's a master's degree or a certification course, it's non-negotiable that you need to improve yourself in this field of architecture. And as we say in SSA, we like to go and beyond. I encourage everybody to go and beyond with their education and continuously keep learning and improving themselves. Thank you so much.
3, 2, 1, go. Okay, photos. Chalo, fatafat we take photos. Yes. Sit like this only. No, I was thinking some people. We take one photo, stand there. We'll stand, no? Come. So then I'll get my certifications also. Everything same.
Any side?
Intermediate. Then you look into the camera and say, don't say Mansi then. We'll take one more if you want.
अपन मेकअप डाल के वापस नहीं आएगा ना, मैं दाढ़ी निकल के आऊंगा। हमारा शूज आ रहा था ना?
अमृता नहीं आ रहा था।
अमृता।
नहीं आ रहा है, I'm sure. No, I had to get my cuff out.
TMI.
Okay, guys.
क्या बोल रही थी?
Thank you. Last one.
But thank you से शुरू करो ना.
Now, one second. Who's asking what?
I'm asking Amrita again.
D3.
One question.
D3.
The question she's got my hoodie.
pause के लिए
I am becoming moodly.
Are you sorry? You remember what we were saying?
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
ए वो playback नहीं है ना? Friends will kill her.
Let it
Maybe
go.
figure in the.
Like I'm not answering the question.